Hello, one and all. What's up, everyone? How is everyone doing? What is today? Today's Thursday? Today's Thursday. Welcome to the show, wherever you are, in whichever land you're in. I want to say good evening to the folks on Facebook just coming on. Let me just make sure. Let me tell you, my people on YouTube, they're going to cuss me one of these days. Big up to the folks on YouTube. Those of you who are going to be coming on from YouTube. Hello, what's up? Hey, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good. Those of you on LinkedIn, hello. And those of you, of course, on Twitter, or should I say X, what's up? What's up? It's your girl Jael Joseph. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys. Drop your flag. Let me know where you're tuned in from. Let me know where you're locked in from. I know my folks in Dominica, they're having electrical issues, I should say, electricity issues in certain parts. So certain parts may not be able to log in this evening. But shed a live, like we always do. Shed a live. Make sure you go ahead and shed a live before I knock you out, right? I am so happy to be back here with you guys. I promised you last week when we had it was Chef Neanda joined us, and we had such a great time with her. And I promised you guys another awesome show this week. And I'll give you a little bit of background because no, he's not Dominican. He's actually Jamaican background, Jamaican parentage. So he'll tell you a little bit about that. But I remember back in 2009 thereabout, wanting to, like, I was envious of this dude. Like, I was hella envious because he got to be one of the finalists VJ competition that was for Much Music, which was like a big deal. And Much Music, for those of you who don't know, used to be kind of like the TRL, like TRL, kind of like TRL, MTV TRL, kind of, right, Marlon? Kind of, yes. So it was like that, and you got to. I remember my cousin taking me once, and we actually ended up being in the audience, like dancing, and like it was like a big jam session, but it was being done and streamed live on TV, and Marlon got to be one of the VJs, and we'll talk a little bit about how he ended up there. But for those of you who love, if you love Handmaid's Tale, he was actually on Handmaid's Tale. We're gonna talk about that too. Let me tell you, that was one of my favorite. Actually, that show has left such an imprint on me. Like, that show was just messed up in so many good ways. Right. So we're gonna be talking to Marlon Palmer. I got to see him last year when he was with Tricks in Toronto, and it was awesome because you guys know I work with Trey, and we got invited to the show, and it was wonderful. His set was my favorite. Don't tell anybody I said that. Don't tell Tricks I said so. But his set was honestly my favorite. Like, I remember saying to Trey after, yeah, I prefer Marlon set. It was the best. I enjoyed it the most. I could relate to it the most. I love the girl who was there. I loved her too, but his set was my favorite. And I wanted to, get you guys to get to know a little bit of my T Dot Massive, the folks that I grew up knowing in Toronto, the folks that I I was thoroughly entertained by. And Marlon has decided to come on. He's actually at a competition, and let me tell you, Marlon double booked. Yes, he double booked. He double booked. So, and he's shaking his head. And as a result, he is at a show, but he did not want to let me down. He did not want to let you guys down. That's why you guys have to show up, okay? So make sure you share the live. Hit share as many times. He did not want to let us down, so he is on, and we're so excited to have him on. Before I introduce Marlon, I just also want to big up Silvani. I don't know, should I say honorable? I'm so accustomed of calling her Silvani Burton, who is the new or president-elect of Dominica. So big up to you, Silvani, the first woman president. And also, I'm probably going to get in trouble for not calling her honorable, but I know her as Silvani Burton. But big up to you being the first woman to become president of Dominica, as well as the first Kalinago to become president of Dominica. So that's big. That's big through and through. So congratulations to her. I'm so happy because obviously you guys know why I'm happy, right? You guys know why I'm very happy about that because you follow me and you're my ride or dies. So we're gonna bring on Marlon right about now because we don't want him to call him back because he's at a competition and he might just have to run. And yeah, that's what happens when you double book people. I want to welcome for the first time here on the show, Marlon Palmer. Oh, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Ha-
Thank you for
ha- ha-
having me.
Thank you for coming and thank you for not like because you could have easily said, you know what, Jael, I can't do this because I have a show and all of that. And you're like, no, I'll come in between. And
I wanted to make it work, man.
yes, yes. I'm so happy to have you on, and we're gonna get straight into the thick of things because we want to get to know a little bit about you. For those, for my audience especially, who doesn't know you, and you may refer to yourself as an up and up, but for those of us who've been following you for years, we know you from the Toronto Canadians Fair, and we want to be able to share a little bit about who you were or who you are as an individual, where you come from, and what's happening next in your life.
Yeah.
First of all, tell me a little bit about where you grew up.
I grew up in Scarborough for the most part, and then I moved from Scarborough to Vaughan. Once my mom got enough money to get us out of there, and I'm basically from grade 7 to I want to say 18. I lived in Vaughan, like right across the street from Wonderland. So like every lunch was gone to Wonderland, funnel cakes, all that stuff. So yeah, it was dope.
Wow. And you like you obviously have, I mean, I watch your set, so we, and even not just your set, but even your name on Instagram is like waiting to oxtail, like these things. So you tell us a little bit about your background, like your Caribbean connection, so to speak.
Yeah, my parents are both Jamaican, full Jamaican. They both my mom grew up in I believe Saint Elizabeth, and my dad grew up in Hanover. And yeah, just a Jamaican church background, strict church parents. You know how that goes when it comes
You
to
get liquor
what?
belt? Get liquor belt?
Oh yes, enough of the belt, the spoon, anything that was near, anything that was
It's
close
food.
by.
The spoon was mine, eh? Like this soon. I get
I
plenty
remember
spoon in my life.
I remember when I was like 17. I think my mom tried to use the spoon on me and it broke on my arm, and I felt so powerful. It was so funny.
The spoon
But
broke
yeah,
on my back a few times. I swear my mother used to buy a spoon probably every month. Every month, and she went to the city. There was a spoon.
oh
There
my.
was a spoon being bought
And
because
then
that
they
was
get
that was.
mad that you broke the spoon.
Or they would say, "Did you ever get like go and get your weep? Like
Oh
go and
yeah.
get." So what did you used to go
I
for?
always
What
get
did
the
you?
flimsiest belt first, and then they send me. They you think I'm playing? Then I go back, and I get like the medium, not the thickest, but like just enough that I knew they'd be satisfied.
So you get all licks. You get licked down before.
I didn't get beat a lot. Like most of the time, it was like maybe something at school happened, which was like once in a while, but it wasn't like super often. No,
But you got in trouble once in school. I remember you got
I got in trouble a
suspended.
couple times. I got in trouble a couple times. Yeah.
Why did you get suspended
The first time?
the first time?
Oh, porn.
You are a bad child.
It wasn't me. It was somebody else who went on it, and I was the one that was caught at the computer while it was still on the screen. So
Yeah.
that was the problem.
I was about to tell you fix your camera.
Yeah, I did it falling slowly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you. You moved from one area to another, but one of the things that you always say that kind of got you into this thing was your love for acting, and you would partake, I guess, in church events and stuff. Tell me a little bit about your church days, like growing up
Yeah,
in church and some of the things you did.
yeah. I was like the person that played Joseph every Christmas. and my brothers were on the choir. One of my brothers played the drums. The other one was on the choir. So then that means I had to join the choir. And then the little one joined the choir, and my mom was on the choir, and my dad was an usher. So everybody was like super involved in church. Like we're talking Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Sunday evening, like church.
So what church is it? Pentecostal?
Yeah,
Of course, it has to be
yeah.
Pentecostal. So Marlon, when did you break out of church? When did that happen?
19 when I ran away from home.
Tell me a little bit. I want to know about that running away from home. Why did you decide that that was it?
Yeah, no, it was just a lot of family things going on, and it was just a lot of. It just felt like a lot of pressure and stress, and I just couldn't really handle it anymore. And it was like a spur of the moment. It wasn't a planned thing. Like I just literally put my jacket on and just walked out. I didn't plan on like not coming back, but I just ended up not coming back. So,
Wow.
and
What
then
was that like for your mom? Like, what was that for like for your mom?
well, she knew where I was every time that. So like I went to live with my older brother, so she knew
Mhm.
where I was at least. And at that point, an adult. You know what I mean? So she was mad, obviously, and she wanted me to come home, but I wasn't going to do that.
So you move away from you move out of home. You stop going to church. You broke out. But I remember like seeing you in like so many different things. Like you would do these video. Not it wasn't the videos. It was the groups on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah,
It was the groups on Facebook. You used to do a lot of those. Tell me a little bit about your Facebook days, because
yeah,
we were like the early Facebookers. Like when people didn't know
yeah,
about Facebook, we were
yeah.
just because I joined Facebook in like 2007. I think it was
Same,
like
same. Yeah. Yeah, I
so,
remember the first group I made was Fresh Prince is the greatest of all time, and like it just took off, and it was just so crazy. And made some groups where it was like just for my friends and just for people. I remember there was some for like sneakerheads, like people who are into fashion. Like there were so many different groups I made. I lost track. I made probably almost 100 groups during that entire.
wow.
Because groups were like the thing, like forums. You know what I mean? It was
Why did you feel like you could do this? Like what was the
well.
reason behind this?
I just felt like well every time I made the groups, I would get a bunch of friend requests from
Clout.
yeah, exactly. I would get a bunch of friend requests, and like obviously, I'm a church kid. I'm not used to a lot of attention. I was very sheltered as a kid. Didn't go out to parties and stuff like that. So this is all new for me, and I'm obviously living on my own now. So like, I don't have to worry about parents. I can go wherever I want, all that stuff. So it was a interesting way to get my name out there. I realized
Mhm.
and I didn't know what for. I just wanted my name out there. I had no idea what for at that point. Like I didn't know I wanted to act. I didn't know. I knew I loved acting, but I didn't know that that was like a possible thing. And yeah, I just kept doing that basically.
Did you ever attend like university or college? Like
Yeah, I went to college twice, left twice.
I want to know about that. You then you're gone in and left.
Well, the first time was when I left my house. I was
Mhm.
in recreation and leisure, which was like a last minute program just for me to just do college.
And
And
now it was just to shut your mom up.
yeah, exactly. And once I got in and like I went to the classes, they were like teaching you how to become like a community center manager. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
that's not my goal at all. Like that's not what I want to do. So I left there, and then when I ended up going back home in 2010 um, to do school again, and I did pre-media fundamentals, and that's when I got my first camera because you could rent it out from the school, and so I
Mhm.
used that camera to do a lot of my earliest first videos. And I remember the OSAP got me enough money to buy a MacBook, and so I could edit them. And yeah, after the first semester, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. This is not for me.
Wow. Now you have done you blew up on YouTube very early o'clock.
Mhm.
And Tell me a little bit about your those days, of like when nobody was on YouTube, like no black people were on YouTube. Let's put it that way.
There was a couple like there's those girls are wild.
Yes, yes.
My friend Shannon, she was the one that first put me in YouTube videos on her channel, and I was like, oh wow, this is so like this is really fun. Like just to like set up a camera and just do skits and like you edit it, you put it up, you get immediate response. You don't have to wait for anybody. You don't have to get an agent, nothing. I was like, okay, that's cool. And so I just started doing it myself and doing it with a lot of friends. And yeah, the first couple videos just took off. Like within the first, I want to say 4 videos, they
What was
just
your
took
most
off.
viral piece of content? The most viral.
Probably shit Jamaican people say. Probably shit Jamaican people
Yes.
say, or shit Toronto people say. Either or. They always switch in numbers, but one of those two.
What are some other things Jamaican people say? For
Watch
those
the
people.
video. Get me some more views. Get me monetized. Get me some more hits.
Give us one at least.
Oh, Wagwan. Like that was just one that was one in there. But I remember there was one part we made. We kind of paid homage to this old Jamaican play called Pasa Pasa.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy in there. He has this like freestyle that he do called Bada Bada Bada, and we doubled it up and said Bada Bada, and we did it inside that video, and then people kept talking about that one part. And a friend of mine was a producer, and he's like, "Yo, let me just make a beat, and you guys just like try to ting on it." And we made the song in like 15, 20 minutes probably. And yeah, I didn't anticipate it taking off the way it did, but like it went crazy. Like a week later, we were opening for PopCon. It was wild.
Yes. Now I was about to ask you, like, how the hell did you open up for popcorn?
Yeah, yeah. I have no idea to this day. Like a friend of mine was DJing, and he had heard the song and seen how people were responding to it. He's like, "Yo, you guys got to do it live." And so we did it at Sound Academy. That's what it was called. It
Mhm.
wasn't called Rebel. It was Sound Academy. And,
No, it's called Rebel.
yeah, and I couldn't believe how many people knew the words already. Like it was so crazy hearing people like sing it back. It was wild.
Yeah. Would you say that you were like destined to be like, because Marlon, you've done so many things. Like you've done, and we'll talk a little bit about your other stuff, but you've done comedy. Well, you do comedy like actively. You've done acting. You've done music. Like you've done. Somebody even told me, like, you do you know he says he wants to be an age was it an agent or like a man,
Oh yeah, I
like,
want to be like an artist manager.
do you still want to do that?
Yeah, at some point for sure, definitely. Like if I, especially if I get enough money, I would start my own label for sure.
Really?
Yeah,
You've done VJing, you've done, oh my god, like, help me, because you've done a lot of other things. Oh, you've done
podcast.
your YouTube stuff, your podcast is lit. Like,
Thank you.
tell people about your podcast. Like, you currently have a podcast where you think you can call out people, you call out people, you do all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah.
you get in a lot of trouble. I've heard a couple people have retweeted, like, cuss you out. And tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, I have a podcast I've been doing for 6 years. It's called The Extra Gravy Show. It's every Wednesday morning. And we just talk about everything pop culture. We interview a lot of different Canadian creatives, any creatives really from anywhere. We've had Sweetie on the show. We've had Cranium. We've had Sean Desmond. Like we've had so many people on the show. It's
One
really
of these days I'll come. One of these days. One of these
definitely
days
you
I'll
gotta
be
get
invited.
you
One
gotta
of these days you could bring me on as, probably, well, well, I do this, but I'm always I my documentary just won at the festival, so I could come in.
congratulations.
I could come in as a director, right?
Congratulations. That's
Thank
dope.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, short best short doc for my documentary. So, and it's
Dope.
based around my Kalinago people from Dominica. So, yeah.
Dope.
So yeah. So you've done your podcast has reached so many different people, and so many people love it. I've heard that people like, well, I haven't actually seen it, but I heard somebody told me like Nicki Minaj once, I think, clapped back
Yeah.
and then deleted the clap back. Was that what happened?
Well, she deleted her clapback on Twitter, which was like it was like a day after. Like she had commented on a video where we were critiquing her for constantly indulging in dancehall and speaking patois, but completely disregarding her Trinidadian roots and not making a soca song. All these
I
things.
swear, after you guys did this,
She made a soca song. Her very next song was a soca
and
song.
I swear, because what I found, and tell me if you find this, that I find that Caribbean Canadian people embrace Caribbean culture so much on a different level than
Yeah.
American, like
Oh
Caribbean
yeah,
people.
for sure. There's well, like there's different reasons for that. Like America's all about America first of all, but also like the Caribbean people are so spread out. Like you have them in New York, then Boston, then Miami. Like it's not really everywhere. You know what I mean? Whereas Toronto, which I want to stress, it's just Toronto because
It's
you go
just
outside
Toronto.
of Canada, it's not like that at all. But in
Mm-mm.
Toronto, it's like just anything else. It's like anything else. It's a part of the culture.
Yeah, because growing up, you would, if somebody would ask you, like if you were raised in Toronto and somebody would ask you where you're from, you would not necessarily say Scarborough. You'd probably say like,
I've never said I'm Canadian.
yeah, or you'd say something like, like
I
people,
always say I'm
even though
Jamaican.
you, even though you were born in Canada, and
Exactly.
that is what I absolutely like love about Toronto, the fact that you can really embrace your culture or your ancestry like to the max, and you've done that in your skits, you've done that in your, I mean, your most viral video is on that.
Yeah.
You kind of set people in their place about certain things, and you've done it in a very Jamaican way. In a very Jamaican way. And you continue to like maintain your culture. Why is it so important for you to be so connected to your Jamaican roots?
I don't think it's like a conscious effort. It's just who I am. Honestly, it's so woven into me. It's like I don't really think about it too much, and I love that I give off that. I never knew I did until people started telling me. Like I really just thought I was just, like any other Jamaican. You know what I mean? And yeah, no, Jamaicans just have a lot of pride, and we love being Jamaican. I argue it still to this day that outside of like Italy, it's the smallest country with the biggest impact. Like the way it's touched the world is insane. So yeah,
Mhm.
I just love being Jamaican.
Oh, he loves being Jamaican. I know my Dominican people on there, they're probably saying, like, this JA guy. Because, us small islanders, we take those things very personally. Because we sometimes feel like Jamaicans leave us behind. You leave us in
I
the
feel like
dust.
everybody should feel that way about their own country, though. I think everybody
Yes.
should feel that way about home. You know?
Definitely. Um, so you've done all of this, and then you got into acting. How did you get into acting? Like, how did that happen? Was that something that you just like, oh, I'm trying everything, or did somebody connect with you and you decided to? And I specifically want to know how you ended up on Handmaid's Tale, because let me tell you, that show was everything. Well, it's not done yet, but
Yeah.
the season is done. Well, the last season is done. But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting into acting, but I wasn't really sure how I would go about it. I had done background acting for a couple of years, and that was an interesting experience, but not the best. Um, and so I was kind of jaded from it. But then I was in the club with some friends of mine, and one of my boys that I hadn't seen in a long time. He was from Ottawa. He had just moved back to Toronto, and he was asking me what I'm up to, and I told him I'm looking for an agent, and he's like, I'm an agent. And so I was like, oh, okay, that works. And I went to his office the next day, signed the papers, and yeah, we've been working ever since.
To this day.
But yeah, still my agent.
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic. And how did you, so he connected you, hooked you up with this gig. How was it like uh working on such a big set? Because I mean that's a huge production.
Yeah, it was different for sure. It was, you could just tell it was just larger scale than most things. But every time I'm on set, it feels kind of like magical. It's like just to see how everything gets put together and all the moving parts behind the camera. It's like it's way cooler than you expect usually.
My peeps, somebody's asking me at once to know if you're single.
No, I'm not
Listen,
single. I'm sorry.
he's not single. Behave yourself, okay? The questions are coming in. You've had so many accomplishments, Marlon. What is next in terms of your personal and even your career, career work?
Yeah, well, I'm focusing a lot more on stand-up comedy. Like I'm here at this competition right now. We're planning a tour next month.
Tell me about the competition. You can't just go, I'm here at this competition and just
Oh no,
slide past it.
it's nothing to trust me. It's just a little thing. It's nothing big.
It's
Um,
everything is a big thing. You never
nah,
know who's in
nah,
the
trust me,
audience.
trust me. It's not. It's not. It's like $50 at the end of the night. You're, trust me, it's not
Oh.
that big.
But at
So
least you're participating because you're,
yeah,
and that helps build your craft,
yeah.
right?
I'm just trying to practice, get more practice in, and see where where I land on the spectrum of the comedians here, especially. But we're planning our tour next month, Extra Gravy Tour. We're going to be
Hmm.
going to Ottawa, doing 2 shows, Montreal, Vancouver, Edmonton, and we're trying to add some more cities. Toronto, obviously. We're trying to add some more cities, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah,
That's super
stand up is
cool.
my main focus right now.
But you opened for Twix, which is like really cool. That how did that connection happen?
Tricks?
Tricks, yeah.
Yeah, me and Tricks go way back. Like he was around
He's from.
my one of my first ever stand-up comedy events. He was on the building, so like he's always been a mentor and like someone I can message and ask for advice, and he gives me advice on like my set and stuff like that. So Tricks is amazing. He's one of the best comedians in Canadian history. So definitely an icon for me.
And why is that important for you to have a mentor around, like somebody like that, like not just
Well,
him but
he's
other
just
people
a
that mentor you?
Yeah, it's just a blessing, honestly. I never sought out to get a mentor. It was more so he's just a kind guy. You know what I mean? He's just willing to give advice, and I'm always a student of the game. Like, no matter who it is, I'll take advice, good or bad, and make my own
Mm-hmm.
decisions after that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just love to gain any knowledge on things that I like deeply love. So yeah.
Um, I have a final question for you because I wanted, like, kind of, I try to scale down everything because I know you have to run back out at any time, and I didn't want them to cut you off between the interview. So I have one last question, and then I want us to do like almost like a rapid fire question round.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm gonna ask the final question is really essentially like, what sort of advice would you have to give? Because you've dabbled in so many different things, and you've gotten opportunities, you've lost opportunities. There's so many things that have happened, right? During the span of your career, from 2009 being a VJ to now, touring with like major acts at point, and even go having your own tour. What sort of advice would you give for young people who probably are very much interested in the creatives, but they're not really sure,
Yeah.
what to do or where to go? What would you say to them?
I would say like don't make your main goal like winning or like being number one. I think the main goal should be learning, and you can never lose learning. You know what I mean? If you love to do something, you should be learning every aspect of it and being very consistent in learning. Even if you're not applying yet, learning is the first step of anything. You know what I mean? So I feel like focusing on learning, making that your goal,
Hmm.
and your craft will grow from that, and you'll eventually be winning and be number one because you've learned so much,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. That's fantastic. That's gold. I mean, I really believe in that as well. Like you always, you say, don't think you're the best, but I always like, I'm number two. Because that always gives me room to
To grow.
constantly grow, right? I'm
Yeah.
number two. I'm not number one, number two. So that's how. So we have very similar ideologies. Yeah. So let's do our little rapid question. I'm super excited about that because I didn't plan it. I didn't prepare it. Totally had somebody else prepare it for me because I wanted to see what they would come up with. But the questions are, well, it's pretty cool. Don't think about your answer. Just answer the first question. The first thing that comes to mind. Just answer it. So
Mhm.
it's either or, right? So the first one, Scarborough or Vaughan?
Scarborough.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
That's nice to know. Okay, Fruit Loops or Frosted Flakes?
Frosted Flakes.
You bias.
Yeah.
Harvey's or McDonald's?
Harvey's.
You bias again. You're totally biased. Okay, here's one. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? You're thinking. You're not supposed to think.
NSYNC.
NSYNC. Why you say NSYNC?
I just like their R&B more.
Yeah, my son. No, that's is that NSYNC. You're my sunshine after the rain. Is that NSYNC? God, it
No,
could be 98
I don't
degrees.
think so.
That's 98 degrees.
I think so.
Jesus. I'm shame on me. Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
Tricks or
Tupac
Major
was
Hype?
horrible. Tupac was horrible.
Really?
Yeah, horrible.
Listen, people come for you. Don't say that. Tricks or Major Hype?
Tricks.
Bias again. Dark
Nope.
skinned girls or light skinned girls?
Black girls.
I know you were gonna say that. You get in trouble the last time for saying other though.
I don't say. I don't do none of that.
You want to tell us about that?
Nope. Nope.
Listen, they'll come for you. You know nowadays with cancel culture, right?
Yeah.
Drake or Weekend?
Drake.
Why?
He's just been around longer. He's the OG.
He's the OG. Soccer or basketball?
Basketball.
I knew that. I totally knew that. Will Smith or Martin Lawrence?
Will Smith.
I know because you had a whole group called Fresh Friends. You had a whole group. Um, Comedy or music?
Comedy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the greatest. Who doesn't like laughing?
Wow, that was great. That was fantastic. Thank you very, very much
Thank you.
for sharing with us, for hanging out with us. I try to keep it short and sweet, and I'm so happy that you could take time. I know you got stuff doing. You had stuff going on. You appeared a couple days ago. You had the Legacy Award. So I saw you out in your blazer and ting and ting. Tell me a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that experience. What it was like to
I
attend
didn't
and
really say. I just did the carpet, and then
that's it.
yeah, I had a comedy show right afterwards, so I had to leave early.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's so sad.
But
I
the
didn't even
carpet
get
was
to
good.
watch it. The carpet was fun. Yeah, the carpet was great.
Yeah, I saw some interviews with you. Like a couple folks did interviews with you, and it was circling all over the place. So, um, congratulations on all what you're doing, Marlon.
Thank
Keep doing your thing.
you. You too.
Thank you. And all of us Caribbean people are so proud of you. And I mean, once no, we have our own little islands we're from, but when it all comes down to it, we're all Caribbean people, and you're doing your thing, and you always represent for Caribbean people. And I want to continue to encourage you and tell you, I mean, I don't even think I need you didn't even need my encouragement because you are shameless in the sense that you want to make it big and you're going hard at it, and that is something that most folks should admire in or can admire in you, and it's just good to know that you're doing your thing and you're continuing to stride and you're not letting nothing stop you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thanks again for coming out on my show, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Take
I
care.
got
Bye bye. All right, guys, that was Marlon. Marlon was in the house with us. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I want to bring more of these kinds of content where I include other folks across the Caribbean or from the Caribbean who share very similar likes or to me to things that I like and things that I enjoy. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this one, enjoyed this interview with Marlon. Let us know. Let me know what other acts or artists or who would you guys like to see on the show. You can just drop it down below, and I will do my best to get them on the show. So big up to Marlon Palmer for joining us here today. Thank you all those of you who tuned in. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye guys.